Well, Bob, Leon Draisaitl scored his third overtime winner of these playoffs, tying a National Hockey League record and giving the Oilers a 1-0 series lead in the Stanley Cup Final. They've never had a lead since 1990 on the world's biggest stage, and we saw the world's two best teams going at it. In terms of quality of hockey in Game 1, the hockey world was treated, and if that's the precedent going forward, we are in for quite the treat.
Well, 1990 is like one of my 5 favorite years. You can figure out why. I was working in Wells, BC, which is about an hour and a half away from Prince George, south and east of PG, and I watched the Oilers win the club at the Jacka Club's bar. So there you go.
I'm guessing the celebrations were a little bit more subdued.
Well, the whole crew is from Edmonton, so we were pretty happy, let me tell you. But no, that was the year in which the Oilers dominated the Boston Bruins and outscored them like 21-8 in the series. And obviously, Game 1, they won in triple overtime. The late Peter Klima, basically a fourth-line player breaking through for the Oilers. But you need contributions, and you talked about how good these two teams are. And I think both teams, Tony, are better than they were last year when they met in the Stanley Cup Final. Edmonton is healthier, but Edmonton also has way greater depth and more support from, and you can't reiterate this more. Like last night, Evander Kane had 9 hits. And unfortunately for the Oilers in that playoff series last year, in the Stanley Cup Final last year, like Evander Kane played the first 2 games in Florida and never got back into the series. He was clearly compromised. We know Leon Draisaitl was playing hurt last year. Well, he scored twice, including the GWG on the PP and OT. Just try saying that really fast 3 times. But no, at the end of the day, and then you look at Florida, and they've got some different defensemen, but really good defensemen. They had Brad Marchand, which totally upgrades their third line. These are 2 deep, good hockey teams that know how to win, that are going at it. Edmonton's now been to a Stanley Cup. It certainly helped out Florida. They got them going to the Stanley Cup against Vegas and then playing the Oilers last year. It was an awesome game, and we were entertained. And what I liked about what we saw out of Edmonton is they didn't panic and they showed resiliency. We got a bit of a break on the goal from Arvidsson, but you need breaks to win. And the margins were tight between the two teams, but it was awesome to watch last night.
Can I ask you, is having a healthy Leon Draisaitl the biggest difference in terms of the 2024 Cup Final to now? Because I feel like a lot of people understated the importance of that.
Well, my experience with Leon is he has the pain threshold. He's a lot like former Oilers captain, the Gator, Jason Smith.
The Gator.
Love that. He has the pain threshold of a cadaver. He is a tough guy.
It's unbelievable.
And he, even remember last year, the end of the year exit interviews, he never, post-media interview that he did back in Edmonton, he didn't want to discuss the injuries, and because a lot of guys are playing hurt. We're never quite sure. But Leon looked pretty good last night. There's no question about that. But he had lots of support around him. I mean, yes, the Oilers loaded up McDavid and Draisaitl as that game wore on, as they tried to chase the game. I think Edmonton made some good adjustments. The third period was terrific. Yeah. And after the first 4 minutes of overtime, they were really good as well. But I expect a counterpunch from Florida, because you know what they say. To become the champ, you got to beat the champ, and Florida still is the champ. So they're a good team. The Oilers players respect and know how good of a team Florida has. And guess what? Florida knows how good Edmonton is too.
Oh, you talk about contributions from all throughout the lineup. How about Chris Knobloch deploying all 4 lines, all 3 pairings consistently, even in overtime? How about the trust from head coach to his players?
Well, I think Chris also, we see the calm.
Yeah,
right?
We do.
And I think that sometimes a team takes on a bit of a personality of the coach. And I got news for you. I watched Chris maybe longer than anybody. Like I did his games at the University of Alberta. I remember going to watch Kootenay play. They didn't have top-end major junior talent, but they made it to the Memorial Cup in 2011. Then he becomes the first coach in major junior history to have 4 straight 50-win seasons. Well, 2 of those years were after a guy who may go down as the greatest player in the history of the game, Connor McDavid, leaves Erie. So certainly the best player the OHL has seen in the last 25 years, right? So Chris knows how to win. He's the first coach since Scotty Bowman to have taken a team to the Stanley Cup Final in back-to-back years in his first 2 years. But he knows it's about the players.
Yeah.
We're here, you and me are here because of the players. The coaches are here because of the players. The fans are here from the players. And he gives ownership to his team and his players. but there's no panic. And so I think that's enabled Edmonton to come from behind 7 times this season.
And your big
in
time
the playoffs.
Yeah, which is incredible. You can never count them out. And even more impressively, I mean, under head coach Paul Maurice, the Florida Panthers were 31-0 since 2023 in the playoffs when having a lead after 2 periods of play. Just kind of a further testament to the grit that the Edmonton Oilers displayed in Game 1. All right, you talk about big time players. How about big time Stu? Stuart Skinner was terrific, especially in that second period, 29 saves for the victory.
He saved him. He gave his team a puncher's chance. That's what he did. And, I talk a lot to Dwayne Rolls. Okay. Dwayne really didn't become an NHL starting goaltender until he was like 31 or 32. Stuart Skinner is still 26.
Unbelievable. And he has 26 career playoff wins already.
There's lots of other guys that did not have that sort of success in their mid-20s. I think you have the greatest chance to make impact as a forward initially, and a little bit longer for the defense, and then goalies are last. And my theory on this is when a goalie makes a mistake, it gets exposed to everybody, and it can be tough psychologically. Then, if you make a mistake as a defenseman, that's the second, worst place you want to make the mistake, right, next to in goal. Forwards, you're further away from the mistake, and usually there's a couple other levels, being the defense and the goalie, to help pick you up if you turn the puck over or whatever. But I think we're watching a bit of an evolution here from Stuart over the course of the playoffs as well. Like he battled. It's all you can ask for. The Oilers they're a team, Tony. They got 2 goalies. One guy's won 6 games. One guy's
6-0.
Right. One guy's 7. Right.
It's unbelievable.
They've used 9 defensemen in the playoffs. They have 14 different forwards that have scored goals. They have some depth. They're more than just Connor and Leon. All the players know that. And you know who's the happiest about it? I would guess Connor and Leon.
Connor and Leon. And head coach Chris Knobloch as well. 13 wins so far in this postseason. 3 more for the Edmonton Oilers if they want to get that 6th Stanley Cup championship. But as Bob alluded to, that Florida Panthers team, they will claw back. Can't wait for game number 2 come Friday night right here at Rogers Place.